Joe Milton is getting the keys to the Tennessee offense in 2023, and there's a lot that's going to go into Tennessee being successful next year. Joe Milton might be at the forefront of that. But what does Joe Milton need to do to be successful? What does Joe Milton need to do, rather, for Tennessee to be successful? And I'm talking about successful now at the new level that Tennessee expects. That's great to win 8 games. That's great to play for a fun bowl game. They expect now New Year's 6 bowl games. They expect to compete for an SEC title. And I'm not just saying that in the sense of that's the thing that Tennessee's always expected, because I understand there's high standards at that program. But now that's a thing where you got Josh Heupel in the saddle coming off a year where you just won the Orange Bowl, beat a pretty good Clemson team, beat Alabama. The bar got raised. Josh Heupel said it post-Orange Bowl. This is just the start. So for Joe Milton, for him to be successful next year, for Tennessee to be successful next year, I just want to throw this out there. He does not need to be Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was a special talent. If you can get that same kind of production from him, awesome, unbelievable, we'll take it. But there's this thought that the team's going to take a step back because they don't have Hendon Hooker. You might take a step back in terms of experience of what you have with Hendon Hooker, but Joe Milton can still sling the rock. I think for Joe Milton, the reality is if you can hit the deep shot, if you can hit the open shot, you're going to have a good chance to roll well in this offense. You're going to have a chance to score a lot of points because they scored right around 44 last year to Tennessee. Hendon Hooker made a ton of plays. A lot of the throws in this offense are predicated on putting the defense in a bind, and they put the defense in a bind by how they line up and by running the football effectively. Over 50% of the time, they are pounding the rock. And so what happens then is the safety creeps up, corner falls asleep, things happen within this scheme to where you have a lot of grass wide open for those receivers to run. So when they win, and you're going to have guys that win, you've saw it in the Orange Bowl, you've seen them do it many occasions. Doesn't matter who's lining up, they have dudes in that receiver room. When they win on the outside, make the open shot. It's just like in basketball. When you drive the lane and the entire defense starts to honor that drive and you kick it out to your corner 3, make the corner 3. Make them pay. That will be paramount to success because that's where a lot of the explosive plays come from. Think back to that Alabama game. Jalen Hyatt having road to glory kind of numbers. Hendon Hooker put it on the money, but it wasn't like he was fitting it into triple coverage. It wasn't like he was just threading the needle in there. Jalen Hyatt won his matchup. Did what the offense was designed to do, and Jalen Hyatt's a special player. Hendon Hooker cashed in. That should be what Joe Milton aspires to. Because I'm looking at their schedule. I think 35 to 38 points a game, so about a touchdown less, still puts Tennessee right around 10-2. I firmly believe that. For 2023, if you can score right around that 38 to 35 margin, I think you still have a really good chance to win at least 10 games. Now, you do more than that, hey, it's going to be a fun year in Knoxville. So I'm not predicting 10-2. Don't get it twisted. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that would put you in position to have that kind of a year for the second year in a row, which would be very, very nice in Knoxville. All right. If you haven't yet subscribed, man, we'd love to have you all at the party. We have had a ton of y'all Tennessee faithful join us. We're so grateful you're here. We're so glad that you're at the party. If you have not yet subscribed, no time like the present. Okay. Also, follow me on the socials at Jody Pickell on Twitter and on Instagram. Great medium for us to interact. It's y'all's show. I get to hear from y'all, especially on those platforms. All right. The next thing that will equip Joe Milton to lead Tennessee to success, he's a big body. Okay, Hendon Hooker did a lot with his legs. Hendon Hooker didn't have the size that Joe Milton does. Joe Milton is Cam Newton-esque. 6'5", 245 pounds. You can call some things with Joe Milton you couldn't call with Hendon Hooker. You can call quarterback power a little more routinely on 3rd and 1, 2nd and goal. You can call that with Joe Milton. And so with that element being a part of this offense, you're going to have to convert on those. You're going to have to make the defense pay when they want to honor the wide formations, when they try to keep that linebacker out of the box and say, we're going to try and just play this pass game with him. Cool. Joe Milton's coming downhill at you, brother. Hope you got that chin strap buckled up tight. That's a whole lot of mass coming downhill. And so being able to utilize that, I think, will just add another element to this offense. And again, he's not Hendon Hooker. he doesn't need to be Hendon Hooker. He needs to be Joe Milton. But what Joe Milton brings to the table, like I said, is that size and contributing for you in those short yardage down and distances. It's a whole new element they can now utilize and could add a different edge to this program. I think that's very, very realistic. So being that extra threat with your legs in a different way, I think is going to be required. I really do. I think it's going to be required of Joe Milton for Tennessee to be successful schematically. So when you look at this schedule, when you look at Tennessee last year, they got off to a hot start. That overtime win against Pitt was huge. I mean, obviously the win against Alabama was huge, but those first few games, it felt like they got a lot of momentum, and that propelled them the rest of the year. Not to say that was why they were successful. They were successful because they were a good team. But I think how you start the year matters. Morale is a huge thing. It matters week to week. I've been in it. Y'all know what it's like. It's a grind week to week of having to get up every single week for a game. When you just believe that you're that team, when you just believe that, hey, we're going to step out on the field, I feel bad for whoever's on the other sideline, that confidence, that plays into it. That plays into that four-quarter game. The way you acquire that confidence is proof of concept, doing it. Okay, so these first three games, Virginia, Austin Peay, and at Florida, going to Gainesville, to the Swamp, those are going to be three games that I think set the table for their trajectory the rest of the season. Now, Austin Peay should take care of business. Virginia, it's going to be in Nashville, should take care of business. At Florida, we should learn a lot. You would think you should take care of business. I think how you win those games matters. Right now, at what is it? I guess January something, I'll pick them to go 3-0, right? How you do that matters because it creates momentum, creates internal belief. And this was a team that we saw in November, in October. They had a lot of belief. They weren't guessing about who they were. And you can do all you want in fall camp. You can have a lot of juice in fall camp, believe that you're a good team. But until you have another color lined up across from you, it's hard to make good on that belief. You prove it to yourself before anybody else, okay? So I think a fast start could bolster a really strong 2023 campaign for Josh Heupel and for this football team. But Joe Milton is going to be at the center of that. So when I say a fast start, I would love to see him light it up statistically. I'd love to see him have that same kind of game he had in the Orange Bowl where they're throwing it 30 times a game and he's wheeling and dealing. He may not need to throw 30 times a game for them to win a lot of games this year. That might not be the game plan. But I would love to see them air it out, especially in those first three, and have a lot of success and just have him feel comfortable and have him feel like he is able to operate the offense at the level that's required, to play at the level and to win at the level that is now required in Tennessee. I believe what Josh Heupel said. I think it's just the start for this program. Joe Milton's going to have his work cut out for him. Doesn't need to be Hendon Hooker. They're big shoes to fill, but Hendon Hooker, I would venture to say, has a big shoe size as well. 6'5", 245, my goodness. We appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. This is the Hard Count. Nick Brake, lifting heavy. This is y'all's show. Cannot stress that enough. Everything that you know, everything that you love about this beautiful sport, we love it too, and we're grateful to share it with y'all on a daily basis, on a live basis, on Tuesday and Thursday. So thank you for that. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.